always wanted to do it, really.
Joe, here we are. Thanks for your time. Does the season ever end these days?
Doesn't look like it, does it? I think that is the nature of football these days, especially if you play international football. It is full on and you've got to try and find opportunities to rest as much as possible. But if I'm not playing football in the summer for my country, then I'm going to be disappointed. So hopefully that carries on for as long as possible.
Great way of looking at it as well. And here we are in a Wales camp. Well, how's it going so far?
Yeah, it's been good. I think it's obviously just to make sure that lads aren't partying too hard or anything in the summer, and obviously we've got 2 massive games coming up, and so just to get us in the best physical condition for those, and it's been really good. Yeah, obviously the opportunity to train with a few younger players who we haven't met before and haven't trained with, and that's been really good. I think you can feel that connection between us and the under-21s and the younger age groups now, which is good. We all know that the standard throughout the age groups is really good. Obviously, you saw the under-17s recently get into a European Championships, which is massive. We were all really pleased for them, and yeah, hopefully they can be the trailblazers now for a bit more success in the younger age group.
The game's coming up in June. Just with players and the season finishing, how hard is it to stop and go again? Not that you are stopping, but could it be a factor?
No, it is difficult. I think I'd certainly rather be finishing a bit later. Obviously, the Premier League lads will just roll straight into it, whereas obviously my season finished a couple of weeks ago now, and it is difficult to find the balance between resting and staying fit and staying ready.
It's all done in 6 months. It's crazy. There's not much room for error in this group.
No, and we found that qualifying for the World Cup, when you've only got 5 teams in a group, when we have to turn up for every game and be 100% at it, which I'm sure we will be when the 2 games come around. We feel we're good enough to be at the Euros in 2024, and that's obviously the ambition.
Another busy summer, that's what we want to
Hopefully, yeah.
So therefore, those 4 points in the first 2 games must seem even more significant. The more you look back at it, the more important it feels.
Yeah, we recognise it as a good start, but we also know we're not getting carried away. Obviously, to get a point in Croatia, that was a big result, but we've got to take advantage of that now. We know that in isolation that doesn't mean anything. But if we go and back it up in the summer and beyond that, then we'll give ourselves a really good opportunity to play in another major tournament. We know we've got the quality and the capability to do that. It's just about producing that consistently, which is what we've managed to do up to this point.
Another 4 points, will that do it?
I think we'll go for 6. I think that's always the ambition. I think it's 2 tough games against 2 decent teams, especially Turkey away. That's probably, well, that is the second hardest game in the group, you'd think. We won't underestimate anybody. Like I said, we drew to Estonia in the last qualifying campaign, and Armenia are probably a stronger team than them, so we'll be well aware of their strengths going into both games, and we'll be there to try and win both games.
It's been well documented, the players that have retired, of course. Everybody's mentioning Garfield. Joe Allen gone as well. Does that, for you, mean that midfield place is yours to nail down now?
Growing up, he was an idol for me, Joe. To have been able to play alongside him for however many games we did was a privilege, really. So naturally, obviously, when somebody like that retires, it opens up a spot, but I've never really seen it as that. I've just tried to take opportunities when they come, which hopefully I've managed to do. I've got a fair few caps now, and I think that's the same for the whole team. You look at the starting 11 from the last game, and I think it's relatively young, but I think there's probably no one in there with under 25 caps. And I think that's the beauty of playing for Wales, and a lot of youth, but also a lot of experience within that youth, and I think that's the perfect place to be.
You mentioned the summer. It's been the end of a long season for you with Portsmouth as well. Disappointing for the club at the end, not to get into the playoffs at least. Personally, are you happy with the way things went for you this season?
Yeah, I think you touched on it. As a team, you play for a club the size of Portsmouth in the 3rd tier. There's only one target really, and if you fall below that, it's going to be a disappointment, and that's obviously the case. I think personally, a bit mixed. I think towards the end I had a really good rhythm. I think I'm a player who, the more they play, the better they play. Having a World Cup in the middle of the season was really difficult, but I can imagine every player at the World Cup found it difficult in the lead up to it. It certainly affected me, and just trying to make sure I was right to be at that World Cup, because it's something that to play for your country at a World Cup is something that is massive, but to play for Wales at a World Cup is something that's even bigger, and it means so much to me to play for Wales. It always has. And I went to Portsmouth to play regularly, and that's what I've done over the last 2 years. It's a club that I've really found a home in football at.
They're just a massive club. They're ambitious. You must be ambitious as a player as well. Are you looking to play at a higher level?
I was going there off the back of a really disappointing year at Luton, having not played much. And so these 2 years have been brilliant in that regard. But of course, I'm not old by any means, but I'm certainly not young in football terms anymore. And I certainly want to play at the highest level I possibly can.
Because you're playing well, you're playing for your country, and obviously you get linked with other clubs. The manager's been talking about you. He certainly wants to see you play next season, play a lot of games next season. Is it nice to hear stuff like that?
He's a manager I've got a really good relationship with, and of course he wants to see me still there next year. And you know, if I'm there next season, then I'm happy. It's certainly not a case of me trying to force anything away from Portsmouth, because I would love to get promoted with them. And if I leave before I've got promoted, then it would probably leave a sour taste in my mouth. But like I said, you've got to balance that with trying to do what's best for yourself. You know, I'm obviously playing a national team here, which I feel comfortable playing in, with a lot of Premier League players, a lot of Championship players, and it's a level that I feel I can play at. I've played in 6 of the top 7 divisions, and I want to play in 7, and that's my ambition, and I've got to do whatever I can to make sure that's a possibility.
Wales obviously means a lot to you, Portsmouth means a lot to you, Merthyr also mean a lot to you, part owner as well.
Yeah.
How's that going?
It's certainly a place that means a lot to me. Having, you know, half my family from there, it's my Welsh connection, and I think hopefully people from Merthyr will see someone from Merthyr playing for Wales. Yeah, sort of came about that you could become an owner. I didn't even know it was a possibility to start with. I'd kind of followed Merthyr from afar, and then obviously since I've become an owner, tried to follow them a little bit closer.
Great club as well. We should explain, you're not the only owner. There's a few owners.
No, yeah,
There's a few hundred owners.
When I've said, when there was obviously articles and BBC have wrote about it saying Joe Morrell's Merthyr owner, people are expecting me to be piling all my money in and I've got like Saudi backers with me or something like that. It's not the case. It's obviously a fan-owned club and there's a lot of owners, so I seem to be the one to get the publicity, of course, but there's a lot of people at that club who work very, very hard. So yeah, I'm certainly not going to start taking any credit for anything I do there, because it's very, very minimal compared to what a lot of people do.
The only non-league club in Wales, and all the Wrexham have promoted. Got any Hollywood contacts?
No, I certainly haven't. I might have to ask Gaz maybe if he's got a few.
Good point.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it would be nice, wouldn't it? But it's a great family club and you can go have a pint on the terrace and enjoy watching your team play regardless of the result.
Yeah, it's a great place to watch football. You seem to be in a good place with your football. Thanks for your time. Good luck next month.
No worries. Cheers.
Brilliant, thank you.